welcome back to my channel. Okay, I do hope y'all keep it cool and classy tonight. So earlier I was talking about vulnerability, and tonight I want to talk about something that kind of relates to being vulnerable, is accepting when you feel alone, accepting when you feel lonely, because alone and lonely can be two different things. So it's really important to be able to decipher the difference between the two, because if you just tell yourself that you're alone, like that can be a really good thing sometimes, especially if you're just getting out of a relationship that doesn't serve you. But when you're lonely, it's because you've been spending years and years outside of that toxic relationship, and you don't want to involve anybody in your life because you're afraid that it's going to end the same way. And you just kind of see it best to both not hurt anybody, as in when you are involving yourself in a relationship and it's kind of just, okay, well, that sucked, I gotta go. Because then you get villainized and they look at you like you're just the worst person. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because being the being seen as a villain is one of the most heartbreaking experiences that you can come in contact with within your life, especially when other people don't understand. when other people when other people don't understand what it's like to feel that, because they always get people telling them that they're assholes, and they always get people telling them this and that, but then they sit back and they take pride in it, and they say, yeah, I am kind of a fucking asshole. Okay, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to be an asshole. In case anybody didn't know. So, when, hi everybody, when you have somebody in your life that's telling you, I'm an asshole, and I'm this, and if anything ever happens between us, it's probably your fault that you trusted me in the first place. Okay, first of all, that's extremely narcissistic. First of all, that's such an unhealthy way to treat somebody. And I think that I accidentally said healthy, because you literally get like brainwashed into thinking that it is healthy. So I basically just wanted to talk about, being lonely. And at the end of the day, like, there's not a whole lot you can do to counteract it. It's kind of just something that you have to accept within yourself. It's kind of just, hi guys. It's kind of just something that you have to be okay with, because when somebody hurts you and you have to feel that, it's just something that's so awful, It's something that you have to look at. You really gotta sit in it. You unfortunately have to just sit with it. Because I feel like for collective, we've gone through mass amounts of complex clears. So, hi guys, welcome in. So when you go through these massive amounts of the complex clearings, you get so addicted. It's addicting. And then you almost allow yourself to feel like there's more wrong with you when there isn't. Like, you kind of just feel like there's so much left to heal within yourself when, you're refusing to see the cups behind you. You're refusing to see everything else that there is. And you might just feel alone because at the end of the day, you got betrayed. You got betrayed. And to accept that is one of the hardest things, to just be okay with heartbreak. Because then you have to sit back and you kind of have to just let the knife go into your heart. You kind of just really got to let it happen. And That's just a feeling that you can't, you know, go to the store and get a refund on. So that's what I wanted to initially build my channel on, was that vulnerability. And then somewhere along the way, I just got so tired of being vulnerable, because I feel like that's all I ever do, is be vulnerable. And then, you know, I was being taught that my vulnerability wasn't vulnerable enough, so it kind of just makes you shut down after a certain amount of time. And yeah, I guess that part of it made me dim my light, and then the other part of it made me kind of shut myself down to myself, to the access of myself. And I feel like it's so intentional. I feel like it's so intentional, because people don't want you to see yourself so that they can benefit off of, you know, what you bring to the table behind the scenes. You know, you don't even see what you're radiating. You don't even see what you're radiating, because you've been spending your whole life benefiting others in order for them to be comfortable, in order for them to be food stable. I've been getting a lot about food stability, but yes, in order for them to be okay, in order for them to have what they need, in order for them to be able to look at themselves and feel okay and feel confident, because they're literally feeding off of your confidence. So I think it's just really important to accept what you feel, because if you're not accepting what you're feeling, then you're automatically betraying yourself. You're automatically lying to yourself. You're automatically telling yourself that your feelings are invalid. So as soon as you just accept it, you know, it's not even something that you have to try to change. It's not something that you have to try to fix. And honestly, that part is so relieving, because the people who flee abuse have a tendency to, you know, look at themselves and consistently try to change something. So the relieving part about acceptance is the fact that when you're sitting with it, you just have to look at it. You have to look at it. You know, it's kind of like cleaning a wound, because you're looking at it, you're trying to clean it, you're like, ooh, ooh, you're pouring some hydrogen peroxide on it, oh! It's just like that, because you have to look at it. You have to be able to look at it in order to understand what you're cleaning, right? So as you're cleaning your wound, it's making you sit with what you went through in order to kind of get the wound in the first place. You got it for a reason. But I think that, you know, especially as a healer, you have a tendency to consistently run into the idea that you have to just heal your wounds and then move on. You got to just heal, move on. Because you were always taught that, you know, to have space to express your pain was selfish. To express what you're feeling is selfish. To express who you are is selfish. Whew. But that's another thing that's just such an unhealthy way to treat somebody. It's so unkind. If nothing else, that's so rude. Okay. Alright. So I feel like you're really sitting on your throne, right? And even, as I've said, even if your environment doesn't encourage this about you or encourage it within you, you're doing it anyway. You're doing it anyway. Excuse me. Excuse me. Double confirmation. Okay. So, because you're doing it anyway, you're starting to see all of the power that you possessed the whole time. All of the fertility that you possessed the whole time. And even if you can't have kids, this could be about just the fertility of the fertility of ability to create, okay, which is a beautiful thing. So to just have that, to at least have that, um, you're able to see so much more about yourself, and you're also able to see that the whole time that you were being told who you were, the whole time that you were being told what you do and don't have, the whole time that you were being told what you're capable of, you continued to hold yourself regardless. You continued to be the best version of yourself regardless of the environment that you were faced with, regardless of the resources that you were given in order to access, you know, and go about existing within the environment that you have been placed in. So you just continue to be yourself. And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to be yourself when everybody is trying to tell you who you are. But what it really is that people are just projecting onto you because they don't want you to be more successful than them. So that's really sad. You know, and I think that people who are healing also have a tendency to look at themselves and say, like, it's really sad and I feel pathetic and I feel like this and I feel like that. But what we don't ever look at is the fact that the people who made us feel so alone in the first place are essentially a little bit pathetic. They're a little bit pathetic. They ain't prophetic. They ain't prophetic. Okay? They pathetic. All right? And it's important, especially when you're lonely. Especially when you're feeling lonely, to face the truth of every matter that you have experienced. Because within the truth lies self-love. So if you can love yourself through the worst, if you can hold yourself through the darkness and through the boxes that you have really been pushed into. I feel like this is definitely a collective that's been pushed into corners. And then when we got to the point where we just started like lashing out or started like growling or roaring or whatever we do, just started like literally giving it back. You know, we got villainized. So this for the villains. This for the fake villains out here. So, you know, it really doesn't matter what people think. And I know that you hear that all the time, and I know that you always hear, you know, you shouldn't care what people think, but like, the most important thing is to care what you think before you care about what anybody else thinks. Because if you are thinking about yourself and you're saying, I'm this, I'm that, I'm horrible, I'm blah, 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 then you're going to be that much more susceptible to manipulation. You're going to be so much easier susceptible to everything that people are telling you. And these things that people are telling you are just projections. That's it. That's all they are. So, whether or not you choose to believe them is all within the way that you carry and view yourself. So it really doesn't even matter. It genuinely doesn't matter what people think. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're the one that has to lay your head down and deal with all of the thoughts going on inside of it. Okay, that's it. Because I feel the need to really talk about this. I feel like somebody might be struggling with confidence. And not just confidence, but like maybe balancing confidence. Balancing it. Because it's really easy, you know, it can be easy to kind of look at ourselves for a few minutes and say, you know, I'm kind of the shit. But to like hold that perspective and then run with it can be so much more difficult. So this, I mean, it directly goes back to exactly what I was just saying with, viewing yourself a certain way and then holding balance within it. Holding balance within it regardless of what people say. Because you know that these people who make you feel this way or try to project on you are emotionally imbalanced. They're emotionally imbalanced. And they are at the exact spot in life that they tried to keep you in. Of just the depression and the this and the that. So all this depression is a sense of being out of touch with their own self. That's what depression really is. Either a sense of being out of touch with your own self or a sense of just feeling alone, like really lonely. And sometimes you just need someone. Sometimes you just need somebody. And that's not selfish. It's not greedy. It's not like you're excluding anybody. It's not like walking away from your abusive relationships was your decision and now you have to be alone forever. That's not how that works. That's not fair. That's not just, is what I am trying to say. That's unjust. And the acceptance of understanding how unjust it is the clearing of a generational curse within itself. Because, you gotta think, like, out of all of the complexes that you have cleared throughout life, you're continuously going on. You're continuously moving forward. And we always try to guilt trip ourselves about how many complexes we have left to clear, but what we don't see is how far we've actually climbed. And you're climbing a pedestal for yourself because you've always pedestalized other things in your life, but you're finally starting to pedestalize yourself. So you're climbing it, and you're so freaking close, man. You're so close to finally being on the top of it, and you're so close to being able to see yourself in a different light. And when you get to the point that you see yourself in a different light, it will make it that much more clear who everybody is around you. And that's the thing, because, I genuinely struggle with that for sure. I really struggle with the way people view me. Every time that somebody tries to brainwash me, every time that somebody tries to make me feel really bad about the way that I feel, when I feel like my boundaries are being breached, the way that people look at me is just, it's so painful. And sometimes it makes me feel really bad about myself, or sometimes it makes me really angry. And all of those things are really important to feel in the moment. Because if you feel them later on, they're going to pent up in a different way that can be unpredictable. That can affect your blessings. And I'm not saying that you're going to establish bad karma, but it could literally simply be you telling yourself that you don't deserve good karma. You're simply just telling yourself, you know what, maybe that person was right. You know what, maybe like, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, okay, I got 3 cards out. And yeah, I mean, it just keeps coming back to the internal balance. It keeps coming back to the internal balance. And the fact that, just kind of taking your inner child's hand. And you're saying, man, I'm sorry, like, it had to be this way. It wasn't supposed to be like this. And, like, it sucked. But I'm really grateful that I still have you. But, like, we need somebody else. I can only do so much. I can only do so much all the time, So it's just this energy of, like, fighting for yourself and then not celebrating it because you have to continue fighting for yourself because you feel that as soon as you stop fighting for yourself, you're going to lose your apartment, you're going to lose your car, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose everything that is important to you. So to just kind of, I mean, it's this point of like just acceptance. It's just acceptance that your environment is encouraging everything that you don't stand for. Thank you. I appreciate you. You have a good day too. I remember you. um, so yeah, it's all about just literally coming back to yourself and being okay with, you know, being okay, not even okay with the abuse you went through. I'm not even going to say that. But being okay with the fact that, you know, it happened. Like, that it's over, is what I'm trying to say. Being okay that you went through it and that you excelled. Being okay that you went through it and you continuously moved away from it. Because we can move through whatever we want, but are we moving away? Like, moving away really matters. Moving away matters so much because we can put ourselves in a perpetual paradox of going through a situation over and over. And this is even after you might leave abuse. This is even after you might leave a job that wasn't serving you, whatever it may be. And maybe you're just reliving that experience over and over. And when you keep reliving it, it gets to a point where it is your life. That is all you see. You identify it, you associate yourself with it. So within associating yourself with it, you're literally just blocking your blessings. I keep getting that. You're blocking your blessings. Because the world and the way that it is trying to radiate onto you, right? And every sun ray is intended to be another blessing. Hold up, intended to be another blessing. But you've gone so long being by yourself. You've gone so long being so strong. You've gone so long doing, everything that other people needed you to do that you forgot who you were the whole time. You forgot how balanced you were within the universe. You forgot that you are of the universe. You forgot that the heartbreak that you have experienced not only got perpetuated, but it kind of made you look at yourself in a sense that is, I want to say this correctly. I think. Okay. It made you look at yourself in a sense that is not only emotionally imbalanced, but continuously perpetuating the cycle of, let me think. Okay, so keep doing it. Continuously perpetuating a cycle of a tower moment that is not yours. Wow. Okay. 23. That's so interesting. So yes, as I was saying, you're living. Okay, and yes, this is creating a sense of a hermit, and a hermit workload is what I'm getting. A hermit workload. So you're literally just like staying to yourself. You're doing what you have to do. You're trying to do your best on accommodating your lifestyle. But the whole time, your environment is not serving your highest interest. Okay? It's not serving your highest interest. So not only is it knocking you off your pedestal, but it's making you view yourself in a sense that not only you don't want to let go, but you really feel like, oh, I don't want to jip this. I feel like there's so much more. Okay. Excuse me. You feel like you're waiting. You feel like you're waiting to receive a blessing, and you're standing within yourself, but the version of yourself that you're standing in isn't actually even who you are. It's not even who you are. So, yes, you've been living this perpetuated tower moment of a karma that does not belong to you. And you consistently revisit it because you don't trust yourself to be emotionally stable because of the heartbreak that you've experienced. And you know, like, I could sit here all day and talk about, I'm so proud of you, you're doing great, you're this, you're that. And, you know, but I feel like I would just be encouraging something that you might not even see for yourself. So you can only do so much for somebody if, you know, they don't even want to, not even that you don't want to, but that they don't know how to move with. They don't really know how to move through. So it's like you can really sit down with somebody and talk about how great they are all day, but it doesn't even matter because if they don't see it within themselves, then they're not going to know how to move through life with it because it's not their own source. Yeah, so basically, it's really important to just feel. Just feel. Because when you're healing, you really want to solve everything in a week. You really want to be, you know, in touch with yourself within a few hours of just trying to start meeting. When you just start meeting yourself, right? And you just start understanding your heartbreak and how frequent it is and how normalized it was. You know, you really just wanted to go away that day so that you could sleep good again. But I'm gonna say that honestly, like one of the best parts about healing is when you get to the acceptance and you understand that everything that you are feeling is valid. Because the whole time you were trying to take shortcuts and you were trying to gyp yourself and you were trying to literally divide your own emotions in order to tolerate them, in order to solve them, in order to heal them. So you're trying to solve something that isn't an equation. To feel your own emotions is not an equation. So, okay. So, you're seeing who you are. You're seeing, like, not that your emotions are who you are, but you're really seeing your emotions and you're feeling like everything that you've experienced up to this point is valid and you're running with it. And you're really using it to power your existence, really. Because I feel like this is a time for many people where the universe has taken us and just like robbed us. Robbed us of everything that we have. So now we're at a point where we just have to be like, okay, I mean, like I had 10 cents in my pocket and now I don't. So it's like you can't lie to yourself about that. You can't just tell yourself, actually, yeah, I do. And that's kind of like the point that the universe is trying to make. Because to, you know, be like, dang, I was gonna use like that 10 cents and then I was gonna you know, I was gonna go bring some bottles back and then get 25 cents so that I could get a gumball or whatever. And now you gotta start over. You gotta start over with it. And I don't even really feel like where you are is about starting over. But I feel like it is about starting to see yourself in a different light. So now you're confidently holding your cup out and you're saying, I'm ready. I'm ready for my blessings. I'm ready to receive everything that I am. I will run with this. because you're really tired of sitting back and saying, maybe I can pay my rent. Maybe I can afford some food this week. Maybe I can get a new job in time to pay my rent. So it's just all about that acceptance. It really is. This is an acceptance reading. Because you've been hurt. You've been so hurt and betrayed and left to the wolves. And I'm not even trying to make this like a pity thing, but you've really been left to your own accord. You've been left to your own resources. So you really had to go and scrape by this whole time. And it's okay to be angry. It really is okay to be angry about that. But don't forget to accept it afterwards. Because you can only be angry until it starts negatively affecting you. Sometimes, yeah, you just gotta sit back and be angry for a couple minutes. But if you're just angry all the time, day in, day out, like, it will eat you from the inside out. And this will negate not only your blessings, but your abilities as a whole. And it will push people away. Not even just push people away, but they won't be able to see. They won't be able to detect your light. They won't be able to detect the fact that you carry the same frequency as them because you are too busy carrying the frequency of anger. So being a human, right, is all about incorporating every part of yourself to yourself because that's what makes you yourself. That's what encourages your richness, right? When you bite into a piece of chocolate, you can tell if it's made by a chocolatier. You can tell. So when somebody approaches you that is of good intent and of genuine intent at that, they can tell if you're a healer. They can tell if you're living in your highest frequency, or at least trying to, at least beginning to approach it. And really taking time to decipher whether or not, who has your best interest and who will not only negate your abilities, as I said, but who will contribute to the journey that you're on within that. Because you don't want to end up back where you were when you let the wrong people in. But you gotta think about this because this is really important. This part is really important. So, you spent all this time guilt tripping yourself because you got abused, because you are embarrassed, because you are embarrassed that you got abused by people who weren't even worth your time in the first place. But at the end of the day, you took the cups behind you and you still made something beautiful. Even if you're not happy, even if you can't pay for your essential needs, even if you can't pay your electricity bill, whatever it may be, even if you can't literally just live your life, you still worked with what you had and you made something within yourself that is something you cannot buy. And I think that's kind of the point of this point. That's the point of this phase of our life, is to understand that regardless of everything that we went through, we still embodied our most prosperous perspective, right? So yeah, we had days that we were not happy. We had days that we felt like less than ourselves. We had days that we felt like we weren't worth it. But within all of that, we still carried ourselves in a graceful and in a... Okay, let me think about it. All right. So, yes, regardless of what you were given in life, you did still carry yourself with ease. Honestly, you still carried yourself with as much ease as you could have. You tried to make things as easy on yourself as you possibly could, regardless of all of the odds, all of the literal cards that you were given. You continuously tried to be within yourself, and you tried your best to connect with the universe. And it has made you something that you don't even fully see yet. Because you have not seen anybody that has embodied and gone on the journey or even commenced the journey that you are already a good majority of the way through. And you just keep going. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. So you're literally not even thinking about what you are because you're so busy swimming. You're so busy in the ocean that you forgot that you went in the ocean in the first place. But yeah. Keep listening to your inner child. Keep understanding your inner child. Keep being here for your inner child. Because you got to think your inner child is not just some being. Your inner child is exactly who you are. And to embody and to accept and to listen to that is literally listening to your non-ego. Listening to a self that carries no bias. Listening to a self that carries no ego. And in doing that, we are already doing our best to be our best.